Welcome to another edition of the John McEntyre Show live. I'm John McEntyre. Today is December the 3rd, 2024. We are 21 days from Christmas Eve and things are moving along and it doesn't seem like it's going to slow up anytime soon. I'm like every day I get up and I'm like today is like this morning. Today is December the 3rd. I mean, I still remember January the 1st. Like it was yesterday. I mean, I remember pretty much everything. This time last year is not even a blur. I'm like, wow, time. But as they say, the older you get, the faster time moves. Seems like it moves. So, wow, it's moving. Um, but uh, and I've been getting a lot of good wallet wins, a lot of good reports. People talking about the deals that they found. I found my deals, and still have and found more deals, and we'll keep looking for those deals as long as they are out there. Um, but what I'm going to cover today, I was going to wait till Medicare Friday. Um, but it's really not it now is coming down to crunch time because um, open enrollment for Medicare Advantage and Part D drug plans ends 11:59 January this Saturday, basically the 7th, December the 7th is when everything ends. Your enrollment to be able to change your Medicare Advantage plan, or choose a new one, or choose a Part D drug plan. That's for people that's on supplements, or they're on regular Medicare and they just have a drug plan. And so, pretty much the 7th is cutoff time, unless you're in one of those special categories. That's a totally different group. Um, but yeah, I'm a little concerned, and it was a little bit comical. As I get quite a few of my stories from the gym. I'm going to make this live quick today. Um, I get a lot of my stories from the gym because the time that I go, probably seriously about 80% of the members there at the gym at that particular time are retirees, and they're pretty much all on Medicare, uh, because they no longer have to work or anything like that, or they've chosen not to work, and so they're on Medicare. So I hear a lot of retirement conversations. I hear a lot of Medicare conversations, things like that, and everyone there is they're an expert because they've enrolled one time. That means that they are an expert, or now that they are retired, um, they are a retirement expert, or they are an investment expert, and things like this. And I'm not to discount their knowledge or anything, or but a lot of times people know me. You do something once, it could have just been luck. You do it more than once and repetitively, now you know what you're doing. And so a lot of them, and this is I had a conversation with a client retiree. We've been together for a long time, and he was he was saying that a lot of the uh, retirees, they don't have anything better to do. And he said we don't have anything better to do, and if we don't know, we'll just make something up. He said that's what I'll do. And he and I, like I say, we have deep conversations, and he knows I talk about being on target financially and everything. And one of the things that he taught me was a lot of people in retirement that didn't do it intentionally. They've accepted in their mind that they did very well because they just don't have any other alternative. So to stop, to not be depressed, or not admit that they did it wrong or something, they'll just say, yes, this is what I did in retirement. And we were talking one day, and I used the example. I said, some people, the intentional people, here's their target is this paper, and they hit the target. Some people, the arrow, for instance, it lands somewhere and they just put the target there. Get my drift? Instead of it being up here and they hitting it, they just shot it, hit wherever, and then they put the target and said, I hit the target. And he said, that's the in denial group. Those are the people that's in denial and just don't want to admit that they did something wrong. And so that is not to attack. That is just to say that there's those two groups: the ones that hit the target on purpose, and ones that hit somewhere and put the target there and said, that's what I meant to do. I meant to do that. That comes, so people that saw a movie back in the 80s, they'll know what I'm talking about. I meant to do that. But yeah, so in the gym, I have a lot of these conversations. Well, I hear a lot. I only get involved in the ones when I hear someone say, well, let's just ask John. Like, oh my goodness, I hope it's quick, because I want to get my workout done, and I got to get out of here because I got other things to do. Like, I got to get here to do the live things like this. But it gives me fresh topics. I always have good topics to cover. This one is a little alarming because it was two stories that I heard. The first one I heard, one of the it was a lady. She was like, I'm not going to worry about she's going to be new to Medicare, and she said, I'm not going to worry about a drug D plan. I'm just going to use my daughter. She uses Good RX, and Mark Cuban, he has a cost drug plus plan or something like that, cost plug plus drugs or something. Um, and I'm just going to deal with those because it seems like the prescriptions are going to be cheaper and everything. And um, I didn't say anything because I wasn't asked. The other person was like, you might want to look into that. Well, my daughter, she's helping me with this and everything. And she's a smart girl and she knows what she's talking about and everything. So I'm just going to let her do it. It wasn't long. She left out. The guy, he was talking to me. He said, did you hear what we were talking about? I said, I heard, bits and pieces, and he explained it. He said, she's making a mistake. I said, yes, she's making it is a mistake. It's going to be a costly mistake. It's going to cost her money. Number one, this is, I've used Good RX. I haven't used the Mark Cuban's cost thing, but apparently it's getting bigger and bigger because more and more people are using it. And so I have to address it. I looked into it, talked to some people that have used it, and the ones that are using it, they're not depending on it. They're using it in situations like the Good RX. They're just using them in situations. And so number one, you have to understand with the Mark Cuban's plan. Let's just talk about Mark Cuban and the Good RX. Is just straightforward. It is what it is. It's been out there a long time. It's just find discounts. You talk to your pharmacist. Good RX, they'll say, well, okay, well, with this Good RX card, you can save this much, this, that, and the other. And so, and people weigh it. Okay, I'll use it. It depends. Mark Cuban's plan, that since it's so new, there's just a lot of confusion there. And number one, when it comes to a Part D drug plan and you go into Medicare, you don't have to have a prescription drug plan, although they want you to have one. And well, let's use a better term. They require that you have one. And whatever you buy outside, number one, since Mark Cuban's pharmacy plan, it's not what is called creditable. It's not creditable for Part D as far as Medicare is concerned. So with that being said, since you do not have a creditable drug plan, creditable insurance, just like with Medicare, you will receive a late enrollment penalty that equals each month that you go without creditable coverage, and you're going to pay that the rest of your life. So there you go. You're going to receive a late payment. So if you wanted to use Mark Cuban's plan, good or in Good RX or whatever, you use it, enroll in your Part D plan with a low or zero premium, just to avoid the late enrollment penalty. And you can use those other things. You could choose to use them. Most people, once they look at the Part D, they say, okay, well, it's not worth all of the hassle and everything, so they just stick, drug the Part D. But I'm just saying, and some people, they use it in other ways. You have to figure that out yourself, whichever way you want to use it. I can't advise on that. Um, I'm just saying, you want to get your Part D because you just don't want to have to pay the late enrollment penalty for, from here on out. So that's one of the main ones. Part number two, Mark Cuban's plan. It only sells generic drugs, and they don't carry every generic available, which could be a benefit. I did a show last couple of weeks ago, sort of touching on this, and there's particular drugs out there that are very expensive, and the Cuban plan don't even cover them. Like, for instance, Ozempic, the plan doesn't even cover it. Mark Cuban doesn't cover it at all, and so those are expensive. So you want your drug D plan and everything like that to kick in to help with those types of things. So that's number two. It only covers generics, does not cover any. Um, um, oh my goodness, it leaves me, but I'll come back to it. Um, Number three, whatever you buy outside of your Part D plan, it will not count towards your Part D uh, deductible. Know that in 2025, the it's going to be a $2,000 cap with your drug plan. That's basically what this is saying here. It won't count towards that. So if you use anything outside of your Part D plan, you're paying for it out of pocket. Just count that up. I'm paying this out of pocket. So if you're saving and it looks like it's a big enough saving, then hey, that's your decision. But it does not count over here in the Part D drug plan. So there you go. You don't get that. It's not counting against your Part D drug plan. Mark Cuban plan only sells generics. They don't sell brands. They don't do any of the brand names. And if it isn't, it's not creditable. So if you don't enroll in your Part D drug plan, you will be penalized. You'll pay the late enrollment fee. So that covers that part. That was, with the lady she was talking about, not doing a drug plan. That's why you want to do a drug plan and not just rely on Mark Cuban's plan or Good RX or anything else that is out there. Talk to your pharmacy. Talk to your pharmacist. Find, with your drug plan, the one that your favorite pharmacist, the one that you like, you trust. Make sure they're in network of the drug D plan. They accept it and everything, and you should be fine. And they will guide you with the Mark Cuban, the Good RX, all those other plans out there. There are plenty others out there. Those are just two big ones right now. So that covers that. The second one that really alarmed me is that I was talking to someone and they said, I looked up something, and now in Google, when you Google something, the first answer usually comes up as an AI, artificial intelligence answer. And he showed it to me. He showed the screenshot, and I was alarmed. I said, okay, that's my first time seeing AI confuse things. I use AI a lot. Uh, for I sort of it took me a second to really grab onto it, but then someone very close to me showed me the benefits and showed me how it could help me with business things like this that I'm doing, and I embraced it. I was like, okay, cool. Saves a lot of time. It definitely saves time, and it's very helpful. But in this particular situation, I was like, I had to be honest. That was my first time ever seeing something like that where AI sort of gave a confusing answer. And I think because AI abbreviates things, it shortens everything and makes it, simplifies it, gives you the simplest answer. I think that what it did, given the simple answer, it combined two. So I didn't exactly want to like write it off as, AI is all this, that, and the other. It doesn't know what it's doing. I don't want to write it off as that. I think that just it oversimplified things to the point to where it sort of confused people. And so with this particular situation, it was talking about Medigap. He had asked, he was like, it's just a question that came across his mind. And he said to himself, okay, let me just look this up because, we're in the open enrollment period for Medicare Advantage and Drug D. He was making sure that it wasn't for a supplement. And so he was like, is this right? He said, because um, don't Medigap plans, they renew annually? And I said, well, Medigap, number one, Medigap, Medicare Advantage are two different plans. You'll hear Medigap, and Medicare supplement plans. Those are interchangeable. Medicare Advantage is Medicare Part C. That's the other term you'll hear. You will either hear Medicare Advantage or Part C. And so he was like, okay. Well, they do renew annually. Um, Medicare Advantage runs January to December. January to December. You don't do anything with your plan. It renews. And January 1st, you're still in the same one. Medigap or Medicare supplement plans, they renew on an anniversary basis. So whatever date you went into the plan, it's going to renew on that date. And so, which is usually the first of your birthday month, whenever you went into the plan, that's when it's going to renew. And as long as you're paying your premium, it's going to renew. As long as you're happy, there's some other things you can change and things like this. But as long as you're happy on your anniversary date that you went into the plan, that's when it will renew. Medicare Advantage, if you went into the plan July 1st, you can still choose another plan for January of the next year. You can go into the open enrollment period, and you can make another choice if you want to. So that's where the differences are. And and where the confusion, as I read it, and it basically grouped them all together. All Medicare insurances have an open enrollment from October the 15th to December the 7th. And so that's where it sort of confused things. And I stressed to them, Medicare Advantage is not Medigap. Medigap and supplement, yes. Medicare Advantage, Medigap, no. Two different plans. Two different plans. And so that's the one I wanted to really clarify because, like I say, I think AI just oversimplified it to the point where it got a little confusing and it clumped some things together. And had I not read it myself, I would have been like, okay, I have to go look this up. And I'm seeing it, and I actually looked at it, and I was like, wow, first time I ever seen that. With AI, it gives solid answers. Like I say, I use it a lot, so don't shun AI if you're using it to answer questions, Medicare or any other thing. Just make sure, if it's confusing, it's okay to look at it, but also like this gentleman, one of my clients, he talked to me. He was like, it was just confusing. It looked confusing to me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure and show this to John. I hope he's at the gym. And we looked at it, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I know what I need to talk about on my show today because that window is closed, and we wouldn't want someone to to read that and then actually leave their supplement plan, because now you can cause some big trouble, some real big problems. Some things can happen because Medicare supplement, Medigap, they only have one open enrollment period. That's when you first go into Medicare and you're choosing that Medigap plan. That's the only open enrollment period that it has. After that, you have to have special situations. You leave it, you might have to go through underwriting to come back into it, and you could be denied. So that's why I wanted to cover that today. The window is just a little too short to wait till Friday to answer that. So I wanted to answer that today. So I hope I gave some good information. Um, and if I did, share it, subscribe to the channel, um, like it. If you have questions, send in your questions. If you have wallet wins you want to share, I want to see them. I want to celebrate them. I didn't share into today because I wanted to get into these alarming topics here. But send those in. Contact me. Want to talk more about your finances, get them on target, let us know. we'll see what we can do. I'll be back tomorrow with some wallet wins, answering another question, covering another topic. So until then, we'll talk.